buckle up. An avalanche is coming. I've been telling you about this. It will destroy, if there's any remaining credibility of the tinfoil hat conspiracy theorists and the rage media mob in this country, along with their allies in the Democratic hate Trump left. And those that have abused power inside and outside of government, you are about to face the justice that many of you deserve. We have made a promise on this program that we will hold all of them accountable, which has been a central focus of this show. And tonight we are making real, significant progress on multiple fronts. Now, what's going to happen in the days, weeks ahead is this is but a short list of what will be made public beyond the Mueller report. So much more that proves that the reporting and the investigations that have gone on in this show for over 2 years will all be proven to be true. All confirm that the investigative reporting on this show with our ensemble team, that we have been accurate and correct all along, all while the media mob and the Democratic mob have lied to you repeatedly for 2.5 years. This is just a short list of what will soon be made public. For example, we'll get into this tonight. At Judicial Watch, they're released today. Oh, it's blockbuster. Wait till you hear what we have. Criminal referrals this week by Devin Nunes. Attorney General Barr today pledging an investigation. This has been long overdue. The Horowitz report on Fisa abuse. Uber report on the issue of leaking classified information, other information. And, of course, the release of more closed-door testimony, thanks to Congressman Collins. We have more of that tonight. We will be sharing, as a matter of fact, very blockbuster there. Also, FISA applications, Gang of Eight materials. Know those 302s? They're all coming out. And also the Ukraine issue, which is surfacing, that is so much evidence that goes right to the doorstep of, Joe Biden. This will all come cascading down on all these bad actors and drown all of those people that have abused their power. Let's start with Capitol Hill. Attorney General Bill Barr today testifying for the House Appropriations Committee, and he was there to talk about the DOJ's budget, but the conversation soon turned to the Mueller report. And faced with the undeniable fact that Trump-Russia collusion was a giant hoax. We had the FBI 9-month investigation, the House Intel investigation, bipartisan Senate investigation, and the words are clear. The Mueller investigation, every single one of these investigations, say there was no Russia collusion whatsoever. None. And they all in the media mob got it wrong. And now they're shifting to new conspiracy theories. We want Donald Trump's taxes. Oh, maybe the Attorney General is covering up major phantom crimes hidden deep within the special counsel's full report. The president obstructed justice, even though the Attorney General and Deputy Attorney General said no, it did not happen. And by the way, you can watch Rachel Maddow, the leader of this tinfoil hat conspiracy brigade. Once again, they're hoping and hyping and lying to their viewers with a pack of twisted lies. Washington Post, New York Times, not much different. Once again, pushing articles based on hearsay from anonymous sources. The left demanding that the full report be released immediately. But the Attorney General today testifying that the full report will be released within a week. No requests for executive privilege by the president have been made, and the only redactions were applied based on strict legal guidelines. You know, like not giving away sources and methods. You're not allowed to leak or give out grand jury information. That's against the law. Watch this.
Now, in my letter of the March 29th, I identified 4 areas that I feel should be redacted, and I think most people would agree. The first is grand jury information, 6E material. The second is information that the intelligence community believes would reveal intelligence sources and methods. The third are information in the report that could interfere with ongoing prosecutions. And finally, we intend to redact information that implicates the privacy or reputational interests of peripheral players where there is a decision not to charge them. From my standpoint, within a week, I will be in a position to release the report to the public.
Well, we already know there was no collusion, there was no obstruction, and President Trump has nothing to hide. The same cannot be said for the high-ranking FBI, DOJ officials just the upper echelon, responsible for the witch hunt against the Trump campaign. Remember, codename Crossfire Hurricane, not the innocuous midterm report. Today, major news, the Attorney General Barr vowing to hold them accountable. This is key. And what the Hill's John Solomon is calling, quote, the single sentence Russia bombshell that Barr delivered to Congress today that very few in the media picked up on. But this is crucial. Take a look.
The Office of the Inspector General has a pending investigation of the Fisa process in the Russian investigation, and I expect that that will be complete probably in May or June, I am told. More generally, I am reviewing the conduct of the investigation and trying to get my arms around all the aspects of the counterintelligence investigation that was conducted during the summer of 2016.
And now reports tonight Barr will form a team to review the FBI's actions during the so-called phony collusion probe. The pendulum is swinging. The boomerang is now headed right back at the top. Deep state actors, they will all be held accountable. Mark my words, criminal indictments are coming. And as we have reported, Congressman Devin Nunes is preparing criminal referrals as we speak for this very week. Freedom Caucus Chairman Mark Meadows saying that even more criminal referrals are on the way because of, quote, overwhelming evidence of abuse of power at the highest levels of the DOJ and the FBI. And we will be getting the Inspector General's report, as the Attorney General just mentioned, and the Fisa applications against Carter Page and the results of the Fisa investigation in the Senate. And at some point, we'll also be getting the report into leaks by John Huber. And we'll also be getting the 302s. That's the transcripts between, let's say, Bruce Orr and Christopher Steele. We'll get those from the FBI. We'll get the Gang of Eight material. And thanks to Congressman Doug Collins, even today, we will be getting all of that closed-door testimony, those transcripts from all the key deep state actors. And as I said, make no mistake, the evidence revealed will come cascading down on those guilty of corruption, bias, abuse of power, and I promise it will drown them. And today, Collins, in fact, the congressman from Georgia, released testimony from James Baker. Remember, he was Jim Comey's #1 lawyer. He was the general counsel at the FBI when Comey was the director. And his remarks on Capitol Hill that were just revealed today behind closed-door testimony, it literally reveals the extreme bias, abuse of power that took place, that we've been telling you about at the highest levels of our government. Now, look at this. Look at his remarks. James Baker was quite worried pro-Clinton political bias was affecting the FBI's investigation into then-candidate Hillary Clinton. Thanks to John Solomon, we also know, and I expect we will have confirmed tomorrow, that Baker later testified in a different closed-door hearing Hillary Clinton's misconduct was alarming and appalling. And Baker said this, and it's key. He believed that Clinton should have been indicted with crimes, the Espionage Act, all these liberals concerned about obstruction of justice. Well, there was intent when Hillary deleted emails and acid-washed her hard drive. We have in the testimony of James Baker today the exact date that they used BleachBit. But, of course, he was talked out of it by his boss, Jim Comey, and a few others. And that's not all. This testimony released on Baker today is revealing what is rampant anti-Trump bias inside the highest levels of the FBI, not rank and file. It's what we've been saying all along. We've been right all along. The chosen candidate, Hillary Clinton, got a free pass. We have a dual system of justice, no equal justice under the law, no equal application of our laws. Trump, he was politically persecuted. They wanted him to lose, and then they had an insurance policy when he won. And Baker testified he was, quote, alarmed, and listen to this, freaked out when he saw the anti-Trump text between FBI investigator Strzok and FBI lawyer Lisa Page. Remember, Strzok was writing the exoneration with Comey in May before they ever did the investigation, and he was the one that interviewed Hillary Clinton. He also revealed, meaning James Baker, that Hillary Clinton's bought and paid for phony Russian dossier, it played a serious role in the FBI's investigation into Trump. But we now know Clinton paid for it. They knew it then. We know it wasn't verified. It wasn't corroborated. And the author, well, you can't verify something he would never stand by himself because he doesn't stand by it. So in other words, there would have been no probable cause to investigate the campaign without Clinton's dirty Russian dossier. But of course, Baker actually read the dossier, he admits, prior to the election. That came out today. He had a personal relationship with one of the attorneys from Perkins Coie. That's the law firm that the Clinton campaign funneled the money to so they could hire Fusion GPS, an op research firm, to then hire, of course, Christopher Steele, that then used phony, uncorroborated Russian dirt to impact an election. How ironic. And Baker admitted that he was the intermediary between Perkins Coie and the FBI. Baker also, in this new information today, admitting he had contact with the reporter, left-winger David Corn, prior to the election about the dossier. And he said Corn, a left-wing activist, was anxious to get the dossier into the hands of the FBI. What does it all mean? That Comey's top lawyer, the #1 lawyer at the FBI, the general counsel of the FBI under Comey, James Baker, knew about rampant pro-Hillary, anti-Trump bias inside the FBI to impact an election to favor one candidate over another. And by the way, they did nothing to stop it, even though he believed crimes were committed. And that same attorney, James Baker, was in close contact with Clinton's bought and paid for law firm. And by the way, was being fed the dirty, totally phony dossier from multiple sources, including a member of the media desperate to stop Trump. This is the United States of America. This is not a banana republic. And there's more. Baker testifying in this new testimony we just got today that after Trump became president, the deputy attorney general who appointed Robert Mueller, Rod Rosenstein, well, he was seriously discussing a plot to remove the president under the 25th Amendment. And in a separate incident, Baker alleging that Rod Rosenstein offered to wear a wire and spy on President Trump. Baker testifying that it was a very serious offer and that Rosenstein wasn't joking. What was revealed from today's release, it should shock the conscience of every American to their core. Let me put it this way. They tried to influence an election. And then when it didn't work, they tried to remove a duly elected president. Now, this damning evidence showing rampant abuse of power and corruption, it should be on the front page of every newspaper in this country. It is not, because the rage Trump media mob is complicit in what is a major cover-up of a deep state coup that threatened the very fabric of this great republic. And now tonight, because of Judicial Watch, Tom Fitton will join us later, we are finding out even more devastating information about how the deep state protected Hillary Clinton before turning their forces against Donald Trump. This is also a huge development just out today, and we're going to break it down for you. The Freedom of Information Act request by Judicial Watch from 2016, well, today bore fruit. It forced the release of 422 pages of FBI documents surrounding Platte River Networks. Remember Platte River Networks? That's where Hillary, the mom and pop shop that had her server in a bathroom closet, remember that? Well, one government official who was reviewing a batch of emails on the server wrote, quote, "I can say now without reservation that there are literally hundreds of classified emails in this collection. 18 U.S.C. 793, violation clear of the Espionage Act." Because she continues, "I'm very concerned about the inadvertent release of the State Department's equities. When this collection is released in its entirety, the potential damage to the foreign relations of the United States could be significant." Pretty much admitting that foreign actors got a hold of Hillary's emails. This is all coming out today. Now, get this. FBI notes of an interview with an unidentified Platte Rivers Network official. This took place in February of 16. It shows an email from December 11, 2014. Hillary's wanting to run now for president, reading, quote, "Hillary cover-up operation, work ticket, archive cleanup." Cover-up operation. Then they go further. They actually give the exact date that they used the bleach bit to wipe the server clean. And the official being interviewed stated that the cover-up operation email, quote, "probably related to change to 60-day email retention policy backup." But we know now that just a few months later, Platte River Networks downloaded the bleach pit from a vendor source called SourceForge at 11:42 a.m. Hang on, March 31st, 2015. What was happening then? Oh, the Democratic candidates were debating, trying to get the nomination. Wow, perfect time to get rid of all this. We know the exact second she obstructed justice in this case. That was after the deletions, prior to the beating up of the devices with hammers, bleach pit used on her server. Let's sum this up. So the FBI had proof Hillary Clinton mishandled hundreds, if not thousands, of top-secret classified emails. Clear violation of the espionage took place. Bent over backwards, they didn't charge her. Even Page and Strzok admitted that, the Attorney General and the DOJ were protecting her because they're all Democrats. The FBI also had proof that Clinton decided to erase the 33,000 subpoenaed emails, acid wash the hard drives with bleach pit, beat up the devices with hammers, remove SIM cards, and yet they didn't even consider charging her with obstruction. It was a rigged investigation. And yet we spent the last 2 years on a witch hunt against Donald Trump based on phony campaign op research, Clinton putting together a phony Russian dossier. And as I said at the top of the monologue, the avalanche is coming. Equal justice is about to be served. Comey, Clinton, Strzok, Page, McCabe, tick-tock.